Hello everybody, welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast. Welcome to another match reaction for Oxford United. We lose on the road to Rotherham United. In what was a must-win game, we lose 2-1. And our chances of a playoff finish come the end of the season is absolutely over. Mathematically, it is not going to happen. It's gutting, it's upsetting, it's all of those negative emotions. But I want to stress one thing. Fair play to Oxford United. We gave what was a tall order. We gave what was going to be almost going to need to be a miracle. We gave it our best go. When we lose, we fall short this season. It's not going to be another season, the third consecutive season finishing in the playoffs. That's not going to happen now. We fall short, and it was a bit too much of a tough ask. I think that's the best way of putting it. Although it was today that is going to be the day that we remember we didn't do it and it becomes mathematically not possible. It wasn't really today that makes it so we can't finish in the playoffs. It probably was, and I'm going to say it definitely was, those 3 games that we lost, in a row at a very, very key point, a crucial point, the business end of the season. That's the reason. That's the reason. We had to come to second in the league, who are not in good form, of course, but, of course, second in the league, and they're not going to be where they are for no reason. A very, very physical, very, very good side, very difficult to beat, and we had to go there and win. We had to go away from home, we had to beat them. That's not an easy thing to do. That is a very, very, very difficult thing to do, and not many sides have gone to Rotherham this season, although with the losing streak they're sort of on at the moment. Not many teams have done it. Not many teams have done it at all. And we had to go there and we had to win. As well as they, of course, are fighting themselves to finish in the top 2 as well. They're still technically fighting for a title. So they had a lot to play for as well. So it was always going to be a very, very difficult ask. And unfortunately, today, this season, we fall short. And today, we fell short. Of course, we analyse it. We tactically analyse these games a lot. We come on here, and we have done since the start of the season, come on here straight after kickoff, live or pre-recorded, however we normally do it. We come on here, and we talk about the game. We break it down, and it's been an amazing season at points. It has been an incredible season. We've had some really, really good moments. We've had some great highs. We have had some disappointing lows. And unfortunately for Oxford, those lows have come at the business end of the campaign. And that, like I said, I don't want to repeat myself, but those lows, unfortunately, have been very, very significant. And that 3-game losing streak we had against Plymouth, we had against Morecambe, we had against Sunderland, they are the games that unfortunately have made us not finish in the top 6. So it's very, very frustrating. But, we went 1-0 up in the game, and for a moment, and for a part of this game, and for quite a big chunk of the game, to be honest, I really did believe we started the game the better side. We got an early goal, it be for an own goal, but a goal's a goal. I'm not sure at this point in the season if anyone cares how a goal goes in. It goes in as an own goal, and then just before half-time, the worst time to score, a killing point in the game, I think, for Oxford United, but such a significant point in the game and such a significant goal for Rotherham United. They score to make it 1-1, and it comes from a little bit of careless playing. It's not the first time we've said it this season, and I'm not going to slander any of the players heavily, because what benefit is that? What do we get out of that now anyway? Herbie Kane, I think, caught a little bit napping on the edge of his penalty area. At that point, for me, that ball has got to go. We should not be trying to hang around and try and keep the ball and try and play our way out of trouble on the edge of the penalty area when we're 1-0 up with seconds to go before the half-time whistle. That ball has to be cleared. It's not cleared. They get a corner, and then a flurry of attack and of pressure for Rotherham United. They go and score just before half-time. They go in 1-1, and they're going into the dressing room. They're going in at half-time with a real piece of confidence and real momentum, and they believe. And that is not the time to concede, and the perfect time to score. It's said, other than scoring in the last minute with the last kick of the game, that's the worst time to score for me. And unfortunately, we did that. We conceded at a point that made Oxford United players go in, for a team talk. For a lot of that game, for the first half, a lot of that first half, we're leading in the game. We look fairly comfortable. We didn't create really anything, which is a little bit contradicting, but we didn't create anything really since we scored that first goal. But we looked defensively fairly good. I thought we were really quite good in the tackle. Thought Sam Long had a really good game for the first half. I mean, it was his man for the goal, but again, a very, very strong, very physical Rotherham United side. They're going to dominate from set pieces. Karl Robinson said it in his preview. From set pieces, they're dangerous. Free kicks in the penalty area, balls in the penalty area. They've got someone like Michael Smith in front and up front, who's a very, very dominant striker. Great with his feet, but great with his head. it wasn't him that scored the goal, but from set piece, from a ball into the penalty area, they go and score and make it 1-1. They bully our players, unfortunately, and score it, and score a goal, like I said, at a vital time. They come out for the second half. They do look like the better side. We didn't really look that great in the second half. And when we conceded, I personally feel, and this is just my honest opinion, we had to win that game 1-0. We had to win that game 1-0. What we needed to do was score that goal like we did and then just hold on. And absolutely, and there's no other way of putting it, What's it house our way to a win. What's it house our way to a win that we probably didn't deserve, that we're probably going to get dominated for the majority of the game. But unfortunately this season, our team is not quite ready for that. It's not quite the ability to do that. Some teams can do it. Some teams can hold out at 1-0 away from home, not really deserving to win the game, not really deserving to get anything from the game, and still come out with something. Unfortunately, at this point, where we are at the moment as an Oxford United squad, as an Oxford United team this season, we're not quite there yet. We're closer than we have been, but we're not quite there yet. And we concede at a really key moment. And then in the second half, we concede a penalty that, again, there'll be question marks. Did the ball go out of play? From me, when I was watching it on iFollow, it did look like it had gone out. Ultimately, the linesman didn't see it. The referee gives a penalty. It definitely was a foul, whether or not it gone out of play. It wasn't a question about it being a foul. It was definitely a foul on the player. Luke McNally, a little bit clumsy in the penalty area. I'd say quite very comfortable, very, very clumsy in the penalty area. Definite penalty. The point, the referee points to the spot, and it's a chance to make it 2-1, and Barlaser does just that, and we're 2-1 down. On top of that, again, we knew in the situation it was going to have to be some serious results going our way. I'm pretty sure there's a point in the game where, there definitely was a point in the game where Plymouth are 1-0 up, Wycombe win their game 1-0, Wigan do get one back, but there's a point in the game where Plymouth are 1-0 up, Wycombe are 1-0 up, and Oxford United were then at 2-1 down. I mean, that is ultimately the worst possible scenario. Ultimately, that could not have got worse at that point. I can see my head was in my hands, but ultimately, that's football. That's football. We've had a little bit of luck at the end of the season. Last season, Accrington beat Portsmouth at Fratton Park, and that was the reason why we got in the top six. So things can happen. Bad moments, very, very, fine margins in games and in moments can cause some serious upset. Unfortunately for Oxford, it's not the right type of upset, and it's upset for us. Ultimately, we come away disappointed, and other teams, they benefit from it, and that's football. That is ultimately football. Could we have won today? Of course we could, but Rotherham, they didn't look brilliant. I won't lie, they didn't look brilliant, but they got the job done. And at a point in this season, I'd be contradicting myself if I said otherwise. You've got to win, and the performance doesn't really matter at this point in the season. It's about the result. If we had scored and made it 1-0, which we did, and then held on and hadn't deserved it, played pretty poorly but defended fairly well, we won the game 1-0, but it was one of the worst performances Oxford United had all season. I wouldn't care at all. I probably wouldn't even comment on it. But unfortunately, we didn't really create enough. We didn't create enough in the game. We didn't really look like scoring pretty much since we scored the goal. That wasn't even our goal technically. It was, of course, an own goal. And that's the reason why we've lost this game. We didn't really create too much. We didn't really look like we were going to score. We had a few chances, half chances. Williams had a really good chance, you could say. Brown got in behind when he came on and looked lively. He's going to be a really key player next season. We can keep him fit, but this season, the last two games, he has been featuring, and he did have a bit of a chance, but it was a good save from the goalkeeper. But at the same time, then they had a chance to counter-attack when we were going for it. They had chances on the counter-attack, and Stevens made a few good saves. Thought him in his goal today, I thought he punched quite well. I thought he caught the ball quite well. I thought our long throws, I like we're doing long throws, but I don't like the way we're doing them. I like that we've introduced it to our game plans, but I don't like the way that they're being executed. We might as well not be doing it, which is annoying, because when you put something in place and when you add a different sort of style of offensive action, you'd hope that you can make the most of it. But this season, with those long throws, it's almost like they're there, but they're not quite there, which is a big contradiction itself. But they're not effective. We know Kieran Brown's got a really good throw, but they're not being, I don't think they've been worked on enough. Hopefully, if Kieran Brown can stay, of course, he's on loan, or maybe we get someone else with a long throw. It doesn't really matter. We can work that out next season, and we can try and come into next season with a bit more of a plan if we're going to add that to our game. But like I said, to summarise, and I don't want to sort of talk about the whole season too much, but it's hard not to when a season comes to an end before the final game of the season. Of course, we've got Doncaster next week, which does mean nothing. And, my feelings is the same as when that full-time whistle went, and pretty much when the 2 goals went in. It's gutting. It's really upsetting. When you followed a side as closely as I have this season, and I'm not trying to pretend I'm any more of a fan as anyone else. I just basically publicly put things, on a podcast and talk about them after every single game. But, I've been to away games this season, as a lot of people have. Our away following this season, it's been brilliant. It was again today. We sold out, the away end. We've sold out a lot of away ends this season. We've been on a real journey as Oxford United fans this year. And although it hasn't ended the way that we would have wanted it to, and there was a dream, and there was a bit of a miracle we needed to finish the top 6. It's not going to be that. And unfortunately, for the first time in a few seasons now, we go into the final day with nothing to play for. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel, really quite strange. But that's football. Like I said, we unfortunately hit a bad run of form at the wrong time. We lost games we really shouldn't have lost at a key point. But like I said, things have happened last season where, you'd argue that the other side should have won games they didn't, and that allowed Oxford United to finish in the top 6. It's fine margins. It's a cringy football saying that gets thrown about so much these days, but it's not wrong. It's fine margins. It's little moments in games, little moments in seasons that ultimately can cost you big things, and it has cost us a chance of having a go to get promoted to the Championship. It's going to be another season in League One, and that's the way it is. And we have to now go into a pre-season. We have to now go into a summer. The players, they deserve quite a long break. You'd say now they have worked hard. They've never not shown desire. And at moments, I remember the Sunderland game. I was a little bit maybe overreactive. People said in that one. I was frustrated. I was so annoyed because we lost a really key game there. But what I would say, and what I've never ever said, is I've never doubted the desire. I've never doubted the work rate of the players. I've never said that we didn't give up and they didn't give everything for Oxford United. I've never doubted that. They always run, they always press, they always work hard for Oxford United, and that's almost all you can ask for. And that, and that's why when these bad moments happen, and when these disappointing moments in seasons that can be very definitive moments in seasons, they do happen. Like today, you can never really blame the players too much, although it is the players' fault. But it's not just the players' fault. Of course, it's everyone's got to take responsibility, and everyone's got to take responsibility for what does mean we don't finish in the top 6. But at the same time, you can never fault their work rate. You can never fault their desire to run for Oxford United, and that's why it feels a little bit better. That's why it doesn't feel as bad. I think that's what I'm trying to say. It does feel very bad, but it doesn't feel as bad, and that's where we are. Like I said, it's been a really, really good journey. It's been a really good season. I've loved every second of it, even if it doesn't end the way we would have wanted it to, even if it doesn't end in the fairy tale that it could have done. I've absolutely loved it, and it wouldn't be the same without you, whether you've been an Oxford United fan, whether you've been a Sunderland fan, Fleetwood fan, Wycombe fan, Sheffield Wednesday fan. I could go on and I could go on. Whoever you are, of course, Oxford United fans as well, whoever you are, I've absolutely loved it. And the interaction in the comments, interaction in the live streams, the interaction, the match day experience when we've gone to these away games, that they've been absolutely second to none. And it's been a really, really promising and exciting campaign. I think sets up a really, really interesting one next year. And I know we said it after the playoff defeat last season. We probably said it after the Wycombe game, didn't we? When we lost, the final at Wembley 2 seasons ago. But This is interesting, and we've got a really, really good set of players here. I know a few of them are on loan, but we've got players like Marcus Brown who are here. Of course, players can leave the club. Of course, we've got to worry about departures. What's the future of Cameron Brannigan? What's the future of Mark Sykes, who ends, of course, his contract technically in the summer? Whether or not that extension is going to happen, we don't know yet. Of course, we'll be finding a little bit more out about off-the-field stuff as we hit the summer. But that's where we are. We haven't got to worry about that yet. We've got another week, to Doncaster, and we can, hopefully put on a really good show and round off the season in a nice way. I know it doesn't mean anything, but if we can finish the season on a high, finish the season with a win, we can come away, and nothing takes away my sort of pride as an Oxford United fan. We made it very difficult for ourselves with the underdogs going into this sort of playoff race that we unfortunately got ourselves in with those 3 disappointing results a few weeks ago. But that's football, and that's League One, and it's crazy that we're probably going to finish on 70 odd points, high 70 points. And not finishing the playoffs, but again, that's just a really, really good advert for League One football and how competitive this season has been. Teams like Wycombe, teams like Sunderland, teams like Sheffield Wednesday, for example. These teams are going to, a lot of those teams are going to finish on 80 points, and only just or might not even get in the top 6. A few of them will, obviously, but some won't. And that's mental. But that's League One this season. We do match reactions, we do roundups, we do predictions, we do previews. But, one thing I always say, this season has proved and shown and been an absolute roller coaster from the minute it started to, and it hasn't ended yet. We've still got a lot of exciting content coming to the channel. We've got some really exciting pieces of podcast stuff coming. We've got our, I don't want to say too much actually, I don't want to spoil too much because I've got some really, really exciting stuff I cannot wait to show you and to release now. But the football season is very much coming to an end. But I've loved it, and I don't want to keep, I need to round up eventually. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I mean it. I really have loved it. It hasn't ended the way we'd have wanted to, but like I said, we gave it our best shot, and unfortunately, it was a tall order. It was a step too far, but fair play to Oxford United. Fair play to them, because they gave it everything. They gave it everything, and they're going to be gutted. Many of them probably aren't going to sleep tonight, but, as an Oxford United fan, if any Oxford United player is watching this, I know, without sounding, blowing my own trumpet too much, I believe a few Oxford United players, maybe do watch the podcast. Whether or not they watch it when they lose, I don't know, but I know a few do. If you are watching, fair play. I'm proud of you. We're all proud of you. We really, really are. And you gave it your best shot, and that's all we can ask ultimately as fans of a football club. We gave it our best shot. Unfortunately, we just missed, and we just fell at the final hurdle. But that's the way it is, and that's just the reality of this season for Oxford United. Anyway, fair play to Rotherham. And I've said it quite late on the episode, and there's not many probably Rotherham fans watching this, but fair play to Rotherham. You of course got the win today. Weren't, like I said, absolutely brilliant, but you got the job done at this point in the season. It's all that matters. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Jack. It's been the Unfan Podcast. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell as well. That way you'll be notified when I go live. All the recorded episodes just like this one. Of course, we've got some really, really exciting content coming to the channel as we head now to the final game, or the final games of this League One campaign. Some exciting stuff. I cannot wait for it. I've been Jack. It's been the Unfan Podcast. I'll see you all very, very soon. See you in a bit.